Hello children, welcome back to my channel. Warning, this contains boy love. And if you don't like it then please get off my channel. Water pistol. Grinning face with cowboy hat. Kageyama Tobio's ears are still ringing after the hotel room door has shut behind him. He feels like he's been underwater for hours, finally able to take a breath. The events of that few hours, the last few days, were a blur. He'd been to the Olympics before, but this was different. This time when he'd been at the top of the world, Hinata had been with him. Was still with him actually, currently sprawled out across their hotel bed like he was dead to the world. Like they hadn't just won a gold medal. Like their friends weren't waiting to meet them and celebrate in less than an hour. Dumbus, you can't go to sleep yet. We have to go meet everyone. Is all he gets in response from the blob of muscle and orange hair that Tobio calls a boyfriend. His face is still pressed into the bed. Is he even breathing? Tobio reaches over him carefully, trying to roll Hinata onto his back without disturbing him too much. It seems he's failed as Hinata immediately starts whining in protest. Tobio, why are you moving me? I was comfy. Kageyama might have glared at him if the pout on Hinata's face hadn't been so adorable. You looked like you were suffocating, idiot. I was making sure you didn't die before the closing ceremony. And, you know, seeing our friends. Hinata covers his face with his hands and groans. Kageyama perches himself on the edge of the bed and gently pulls Hinata's hands from his face. For a moment he just looks into the other man's eyes. They meet his with the same warmth they always held. Like bottled sunlight. He can't help himself from smiling down at him. He loves Hinata Shawaya so much that sometimes it feels like that love is trying to physically rend itself from him, threatening to overwhelm his entire being. Hinata interlaces their fingers, smiling tiredly back at him. What? Marry me? Hinata's eyes widen. Wait, what? Shit, did I say that out loud? Hinata gives a small nod, face still unreadable and his eyebrows raise. Kageyama feels a flush burn the tips of his ears. Tobio steps back for a moment, dropping their interlaced hands as he scrambles quickly through his bag, already knowing exactly what pocket he needs to check. This isn't how I was planning to do this, but, in a matter of seconds, he's back at the side of the bed, fiddling with a small black box. Hinata pushes himself up to a sitting position as Tobio tries to find a not awkward way to kneel in front of him. It seems there really isn't a smooth way to do this at this point, so he steels himself and moves on. He locks his eyes onto Hinata's. Shawaya, you're my best friend, my teammate, my partner. You're the most important person in my life. You said you'd go with me to the top of the world and you did, and I can't think of anything that would make me happier than getting to stay here by your side forever. He blinks his eyes quickly, trying to stave off any tears. He is not going to cry over this. Kageyama gently pries open the ring box as he says, will you marry me? A dazed look has overtaken Hinata's face, but his brain seems to reboot in the moment of silence that passes between them. What? Hinata squawks as he launches himself off the bed. No. Tobio's stomach drops. What? Had he really miscalculated that badly? Oh god, he shouldn't have done this. He starts to spiral, frozen to the spot, oblivious to Hinata tearing wildly through his suitcase behind him. Tobio tries to start, eyes unfocused and hands starting to shake as he tries to close the box. Hinata is back before him in another blink of an eye. His eyebrows are furrowed, but he doesn't seem mad to Kageyama. Shawaya is frustrated. He realizes, his eyes have hardened like they do when he issues a challenge. You asshole. Hinata shakes an object he can't quite make out in front of Kageyama's eyes. I was gonna ask you first. You. Kageyama's brain buffers as Hinata just stares up at him defiantly. You wait, are you saying no? Why would I say no? Kageyama reaches out, squeezing Hinata's head lightly like he used to while his heart still raced, trying to catch up with the events of the last 30 seconds, because you just said no. Hinata rolls his eyes but does nothing to move Tobio's hand. Dummy, I wasn't saying no to you. I was just making sure you couldn't propose first. How was I supposed to know that? And I did still ask you first, so what does it matter? But I was going to ask you later tonight. It's not fair. Tobio covers his face with his hands and groans. I wasn't trying to make this a competition. I wasn't even planning to do it just then, I just did. He pulls his gaze back to Hinata, still burning with that stupid desire to win that makes him both adorable and insufferable. His voice comes out softer than he intends it to when he asks, "So, you're not saying no?" Hinata's whole determined stance crumbles. He wraps his arms around Tobio, "Of course not." Kagehina presses a kiss to the top of Xiaoyao's head, then pulls back slightly. He tentatively lifts the ring box once again. "Can I?" Hinata nods. Tobio quickly fumbles with the box, pulling out the small silver band and, with shaking hands, goes to put it on Hinata's finger. "Wait, which hand is it again?" "Kagehina, you propose but you don't even know which finger you put an engagement ring on." Tobio shoots him a quick glare, even though the effect seems slightly lessened by the fact that they're both grinning like idiots. "Which one is it then?" "Dart. I don't know." Kagehina slips the ring onto Hinata's left ring finger, figuring if nothing else it's not his dominant spiking hand. Hinata pulls out his own ring and gives it to Kagehina with a bit more confidence, though his whole being seems to be vibrating with barely contained energy. He stares at the ring on his finger in wonder, then turns his sparkling eyes on Tobio, and it's like they've just won the Olympics all over again. Tobio doesn't know who moves first, but in a split second they're kissing, lips pressed solidly together as Xiaoyao slowly presses himself further and further into Kagehina's space. His hand runs delicately through Xiaoyao's hair as the shorter man drapes his arms around Tobio's neck. They have to break apart again when Hinata can't hold back his smile any longer. Kagehina just beams back at Hinata, his fiancé. "Holy shit. I love you," Xiaoyao says with the same blinding sincerity he puts into everything he does. Tobio rolls his eyes to try and make their watering less obvious, but if the dampness in Hinata's eyes is anything to go by, they're both failing miserably. "I love you too, Dumbus," and he pulls Hinata back to him as their lips connect once again. Tobio lets out a small, contented sigh. He would be perfectly happy to stay right here for the rest of the night. The rest of his life, even. But just as Hinata presses in to deepen the kiss, their phones both go off. They spring apart slightly in surprise, not quite enough to break contact, just enough to regain their bearings. Hinata looks down at his phone briefly. "Saki's mad we're taking so long. TCH. Tell him you can be mad once he has a gold medal. Don't be mean, we said we'd go out with all of them." I guess. Tobio tries to find the energy to pout, but he finds he is excited to see his friends and he doubts the buzz of the everything that happened today is going to wear off anytime soon. He sighs, "You ready to go then?" Hinata rocks back on his feet, no trace of the man who'd been lying face down on the bed not even 10 minutes ago. Yuck. Before Tobio can even respond, Hinata is taking his hand and tugging him toward the door. He pats his pocket for the room key quickly to make sure Hinata doesn't strand them, then lets Hinata pull him out into the hallway. Tobio links his right hand with Xiaoyao's left, feeling the cool metal of the new ring against his hand and fighting back another obnoxious smile. He squeezes Hinata's hand. "That brings me to 1,223 wins and 1,221 losses, Kagehina says casually. Xiaoyao looks sideways at him, eyes hardening. "Race you to the lobby?" A devilish smile spreads across Tobio's face. "You're on. Haikyu does not belong to me either. Warning, this fanfiction does not belong to me, neither does the fan art. Credits to the original artist and author, to the fan art in the fanfiction. Well, by children smiling face with hearts.